This podcast is brought to you by Versed. Guys wear that guys wear. This fantasy football draft season, Verse Limitless Pants should be at the top of every guy's watch list. Because while some guys are sweating whether to risk it all on an up-and-coming rookie, fall back on a trusted vet, or to just ride with whatever the auto draft tosses at them, gearing up with the Limitless Collection's versatility, comfort, and style is always a sure thing. Versed. Guys wear that guys wear. Only at Dick's.
There is so much NFL on ESPN right now. Monday Night Football, plus pregame and postgame. NFL Live, NFL Primetime. Everything you need to stay on top of every game, every week.
Unbelievable.
And now NFL Network is on the ESPN app. More football, more coverage, more ways to watch. Football's on, all season long on ESPN and streaming on the ESPN app.
Imagine visiting the storied city of New Orleans, dressed in your finest ball gown or fitted tux. Hair, perfectly styled. Accessorized down to a T. Stepping onto a red carpet and entering the Mickelson Ball as an attendee. Okay, this is where my imagination sadly fails to keep up. I don't know who the Mickelsons are. Or I didn't before recording this episode. For as much as I love genre television, I somehow missed the Vampire Diaries and its accompanying spin-offs, the originals and legacies. But in my quest to learn everything I can about conventions and the live fan experience, I was told multiple times that I should talk to the folks behind the original experience. As they describe it on their website, step beyond the velvet rope into an immersive experience that transcends the ordinary. Saturday's Mickelson Ball offers an all-inclusive evening of elegance, mystery, and unforgettable moments with the cast. Limited capacity, no cell phones at the ball. What happens inside stays inside. I mean, come on! I was dying to learn more about such an immersive event. Thankfully, Tammie was willing to overlook my fandom ignorance and tell me all about it. So that's what we have for you guys today.
Hi, my name is Tammie Buchignani, and I am the co-owner of The Original Experience.
And what is The Original Experience?
The Original Experience is an entertainment company, and we provide fan experiences at different locations. We are in our second year, and we now have 2 shows that are coming up this year, and we're really excited about it, and we're growing, and we're trying to create some unique experiences for fans.
So 2 years, you have a few experiences under your belt, and you know how the sausage gets made. But like, why did you decide to start such a fan event company to begin with?
Well, that's a kind of interesting story. It was definitely not in my life plan. So I was going through a really hard time, had a huge loss in my life, and I kind of I discovered the originals, TV show, and was drawn to it, particularly Elijah Michelson and Daniel Gillies, how he portrayed it. Anyway, so I started going to the events as a fan. And I found it was interesting because I didn't know anything about them. I thought they were only like Star Trek and Star Wars. I didn't know this whole world was out here. And over the years, Daniel and I got to really know each other and become good friends. And, he helped me through some hard times. And so he and his agent, Tony, had been wanting to do this Michelson Ball, in the show. And I think it's in the Vampire Diaries where the actual Michelson Ball happens. There's a Michelson Ball. And they had been working with another company to produce it, and that just didn't work out. And so I happened to have dinner with him like the day after this happened. And I do find it a little just, kismic or serendipitous. And I said to him, I think it was, oh, you can do it yourself. And in that same thing, I'm like, oh, I would love to help. I know people that work in the space. And so I partnered with his agent, Tony, and we started The Original Experience. And I think our goal at the time was to put on The initial event, it wasn't, what is the future? And, it was such a great concept and a great vision that they had. And then we realized, we can create something special by offering unique experiences for fans and get them as close as possible to these cast members that they love.
Yeah, I feel like what you're describing is so interesting to me because I had the same experience where I thought like, oh yeah, there are still Star Trek conventions, but like surely
Right.
there aren't for all the other shows that I love. And then you're like, oh my God, there's like this whole like it's not underground, but there's like this whole circuit of events that are happening, and some of them in my city that I could actually go
Right.
to.
I'm amazed. And I know people that I've only done ones centered around the originals or the Vampire Diaries, but there's some people that go to all these different fandom, and it's really amazing to me. And yeah, we're poised to really offer some great experiences for people.
That's awesome. So, you talked about the Michelson Ball. Was your goal for this like first event that you did really to have it feel like you were living in universe? Because I feel like there are two ways. Like conventions can almost be like a theme park versus an amusement park. Like I would say like San Diego Comic-Con is an amusement park. Like there's lots of different things that are all themed, but it's not, you don't feel like you're living in the world like you would in a theme park where the idea is to be in that world.
Yeah, we definitely had that in mind in the first one. And I would say, the first one, we ended up doing it in a very fast time because the dates with this other company had already been set. So we had literally 5 months to put this whole thing together. And, it turned out amazing, but there was definitely a learning curve with it. And our definitely goal was to have you be immersive in the originals. And while I feel the decor was amazing, all these things were great. I'm not sure we encapsulated true, getting into the originals. And this year, our designer is actually Riley Vocal, who is Freya Michelson on the in the originals. I've become friends with her over the years as well. So it's sort of this, full circle moment for us to work together. Our design, I wish I could show it to everybody. It is amazing. It will truly feel like you were in the originals. Our mood is kind of dark romance. And I'm really excited about that. So that is the goal, that you're going into the originals ball with the Michelsons.
Yeah, you're fully in the universe. You are your own OC,
Yes.
you're your own character.
Yes.
How much are you thinking about like providing? I don't know, I'm thinking about like the kinds of FAQ documents that I see a lot of conventions do of like, here's some ideas of like the kind of like dress code we have because it is a ball, right? And like here's how we want you to help you get immersed. Like how much is this like planning a wedding? I'm gonna be honest.
Planning and wedding is a really good description, because it really is. And yes, I mean, we have put out there too, it is part of, our cast members will be dressed to impress, and the fans, it's a black tie optional dress code. And with the first one and definitely the second one coming up, where people were so excited to get dressed up for events. You don't, in the convention space and a general floor, but some people do dress up a little bit, but for the most part, they're casual, right? So this was an opportunity not only for them to dress up, but also have their picture taken with the Michelsons in tuxes and gowns. So it was quite magical in that regard.
Yeah, no, it sounds lovely. It does kind of crack me up because if you go to a convention that's got like a big convention hall that you're walking, you're like, I'm wearing the comfiest shoes I own, a
Right.
t-shirt that I know I'm gonna sweat it, like versus like, I want to dress up, I want to have a fancy night out.
Right. And that's been an appeal for people. And we've been really overwhelmed at the response. Again, there were some challenges, some things we definitely know that we fixed in that. But even just, with that, we're about halfway sold out right now. And the response initially for people coming back has been amazing. And I'm so grateful to our fans who have become people that I really like and kind of communicate a lot with on social media, which is new for me, but it's been fun.
I know it's unfortunate that all the advertising has to happen on social media because I'm like, I hate being on there. I'm bad at it. I don't like it. And it's like, okay, this is how we recruit people. It's fine. It's fine.
What happened to emails?
Can I just put up flyers? Is that a thing I can do still?
That's funny. That's totally what I would do. That's my marketing campaign.
Yeah. Well, what was one of those challenges that you discovered the first time you were in the event, just like being new to the space that you like have made adjustments now that you've learned from your first experience?
Well, I think the first one is obviously proper lead time into this type of event, and we have that this time. One of the other challenges is when we first did it, like we're a brand new company, and there's been a couple companies that have sort of come and gone, and so people in these fandoms were really, rightfully so, really leery of a new company coming on board. So that was the biggest challenge in getting people to realize that, we're different in a sense that we're from a fan perspective. I kind of know what fans want and to deliver those kind of experiences to people. So that was one of the biggest challenges is to get people to trust us. And I think we're building that now.
It's an interesting challenge because as I don't know, people's I feel like the financial world is just getting unstable in general. These
Yes.
like conventions can be a big investment. It might be like the big trip that you're doing for that year. And so then it's like, boy, I really hope this company doesn't go under and I just lost my couple $100s or whatever of a ticket, depending on where you're going. It's crazy.
Oh, for sure. And I personally lost money on a company as well. So I completely understand. Yeah, I completely understand where people are coming from. But yeah, and one of those things with the cost, and this has come up, and the ball is not, it's definitely a luxury item. But at the same time, we also feel like we're putting a lot of touches where you get a full photo op. If know conventions, photo ops can be pricey if you have all the cast members. There's a group photo op there. We have a signed invitation where they hand sign an invitation for people. So there's a lot of elevated touches where people originally we got a lot of flack. You know how the internet is on the pricing, and we still do a little bit. And I get it. It's tough out there. It's that's kind of how it is. But then people are coming back going, oh, you get this, and this, and it's totally worth. For me, I love these kind of experiences that aren't just the floor. Like I've spent good money on a dinner with, these cast members and wanting something different. So from my perspective, I feel like, oh, that's a great investment on an experience. But, and that's for anybody to choose if they want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like it's a choice fans make of where you're going to put your money. Spend it on the vendor's floor, spend it in a meet and greet, spend it in a
Right.
specialty event. Like
Right.
we got limited time and money. You got to make a choice. And also knowing how expensive just large events can be in general. I think it's always interesting to me because I'm like, oh, fan events are so these special specific things. I'm like, okay, but it's also like go to a sporting event. Think about how expensive those tickets are. And those are for stadiums that are built explicitly for them that are like subsidized by our taxes. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's actually great you say that because that is true. And sometimes in these fandoms, and again, I love the fandoms, they're very supported, but I think sometimes it's a little bit of a sticker shock of, oh, it costs, but you got to put it in perspective like, okay, do I get season tickets for a sporting thing? And it's also again, it's choice on what you spend your money on. But we are trying to make sure we provide, an experience that is worth the money, that you get your money's worth.
Well, what are you most excited about this year's event that you've like added or changed?
Well, a couple things. Certainly with the Michelson Ball, just our production team, and we're working with a company in New Orleans that's going to do all our set dressings and again, Riley's design with the ball, which is amazing. That part I'm really looking forward to with the ball. And we partner with Love Coven, and Mike, who is Riley's husband, does our marketing as well. And he's in charge of our run of show. So his expertise in this and making sure everything, is on point. I'm looking forward to having the organization on that front. And then for the weekend, we started this last year with doing some of these off-site, meaning using New Orleans as the character. It's another character of our experience. And like last year, we had Daniel Gillies and Joseph Morgan do a meet and greet at where the compound was set in the originals. And then we also throw in fun things like we had a couple cast members do an escape room and really immersing fans in these kind of experiences. So we're definitely increasing our special events and what we're doing. That I'm really looking forward to. We're doing a cocktail party. We've added a brunch. And I want to have something for everybody. You kind of talk about cost, and the reality is there is a cost, and we're a business. Although I feel like I don't run on high margins, but at the same time, I try to keep costs as low as you can. But sometimes you just there's a certain market you have to be in. But anyway, something for everybody is what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love so much that you mentioned New Orleans being kind of a character and part of the immersive experience. I think that's something that you really do miss out on sometimes when you're at a large convention like a fan expo or an anime expo. Is you're like, fill in generic large city convention hall that was built to hold this and is going to hold the dentist's
Right.
annual meet next year.
Yeah.
Like,
Sometimes at the same time.
it's got no vibe. Yeah. I have been to one of those. I've been to one where I was half convention and then I was
Yeah.
half doctors, like annual meeting. And I was like,
Right.
boy, we're getting some weird side eye.
You walk into a ballroom and you're like, this doesn't look like the originals.
Yeah. I don't think there was a doctor cosplay contest, but okay.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I've experienced that before myself.
Do you feel like integrating New Orleans as a city and working with like local businesses within the city has been like a really cool way to get integrated, or has it just been like, oh my God, now I've got 60 different vendor contracts I'm keeping track of?
There's a little bit of that. And I actually was so one of the things when we started, I've been in business for a long time. My career was in the wine business, but one of the first things I did was sort of build a team that knows this space. And my director of floor operations is Heather, and she's amazing. She knows the con world up and down. She's so passionate about it. And she handles all of this stuff. And in our last team meeting, I was like, gosh, I was afraid we were doing so many, things that it was hard to keep track. And she's like, no, I got it. And so for me, that's made my job much easier, is to have her kind of take charge of that and get us all these great experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. When someone like knows the city intimately, they're like, oh my God, this bar is going to give us a great deal for like a happy hour, cocktail hour, and they'll do themed drinks for us. It's like, great, done, easy,
Yes,
please.
and honestly, I'm kind of the point where like she sends me the stuff, I sign it, and I pay for it. That's the extent of it, and I'm great with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Works for me. I'll just show up. Well, you also mentioned how some of the former cast members are now like involved on the set production design and run of shows up. That must be really helpful to have people who are coming from kind of the Hollywood world, because they do create artificial worlds in their shows, and therefore even if your role wasn't like, I don't know, costume designer, you still understand the things that are needed to go in to make a functional good costume that will pop.
Right. That's one of the things that I've been really grateful for is we have great support with our cast members, and they really promoted us because they're excited about the ball. And I think there was a video where one of them said, if you come to the ball, you're going to be a Michelson. And that's kind of how they feel too, because they really appreciate their fans and they want this to be an amazing experience that they could share with them. And so that has been really helpful it obviously is helpful in marketing, but it's also helpful in just having them buy in to what we're doing. That means a lot to me because I've gotten to know a lot of them, and they are great people and they're amazing with fans. But to have them, help communicate with people, their excitement has been just thrilling for me.
Yeah, it's like it's not even just like, oh, you're a good sport and you don't mind showing up and signing 30 autographs. It's like, oh, you're really
Right.
genuinely excited for this. That's so fun.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, it's above and beyond, what they need to do. And it's amazing. And again, this also kind of, goes with sort of the development of kind of this came from Daniel Gillies and this was his idea. And Tony is my business partner, and she really conceptualized the Michelson ball from the beginning with him. So that's been amazing. And that's been, I think, a little bit edge, for lack of a better word, that we've had in being able to, make the cast feel like we were really representing the show well, and providing the fans that experience that they've been looking for.
Have there been elements of the show that you've wanted to integrate or you want to integrate in like future iterations? Like how much do you think fans care about like meeting other actors versus like even, set deck and the writers for the show? Like how much are you thinking about that? Because you're doing a very sense of place version of an event, right? Which is different
Yes.
than like the production of a show, maybe.
Right. We're doing a second show in September. And that show, for me, New Orleans will always be the originals focused. There's not a lot of, there's definitely a TVDU, all three shows, but not a lot of so I want this to be the originals only. And this year we kind of added a little bit of like, because, some of the TVD cast are fan favorites as well, but they also, most of them guest starred in the originals. So this year we added some of those, which people appreciate. But for our September show, we're going to do a little multi-fandom that's TVDU as well, but also witches, werewolves, and vampires. Oh, can't forget vampires. So I'm actually looking forward to, in that sense, kind of taking all these shows and creating sort of, I don't know if gothic is the right thing, but that sort of dark theme for our experiences. So it'll be a little different in that we're not taking the show and making it all about the show. It's more the theme of the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we joke when it becomes like September, October, my friends here will always do spooky movie season. And it's like we just want we want horror movies, we want, monster movies, like whatever, because you're coming up on Halloween. And that's kind of it's more like let's live in this fun supernatural, not the TV show, but
Yes.
the paranormal world of monsters and things. I love that. And also just like New Orleans is such a great setting because, come on, I feel like you're cheating.
Yeah, we actually have one of our experiences is a ghost tour. And again, I would really love to be able to do these tours, but I won't have time. But yeah, it's amazing. Again, the New Orleans as a character and really immersing the cast into that is another thing I'm really looking forward to.
That's so cool. Well, so like day of these events, are you going to be just like in the office taking emergency calls the whole time? Are you able to see the work that you've put so much time into?
That's a great question. The first one, I mean, first of all, I built a really great team that I felt like I was a little obsolete, especially like on the conventions days. I'm like, I'm just a gopher here, which is amazing to me. But it's such a whirlwind, and like people were pointing out things to me at the ball about, oh, these dancers were amazing. We had these dancer performers, and I'm like, I don't even remember it. It was more of, I think, just I was so nervous. It was a blur for me. So I'm hoping this one I can, enjoy it a little bit. Again, we're in a much better place organizational wise, and that we have lead up time. So I feel everything should run smooth, and I really should just be the call of, okay, this emergency come up, which you always have in any business, right? In any event. I mean, no event I've ever been to is perfect. There's always little things that you try to, but you can never really account for.
Oh yeah, I used to run science communication conferences, like for graduate students, and it was always like it went super smooth. Our lunch showed up 3 hours too late one day, but otherwise it was great. And you're just like, there's always something.
Right. There's a lot of moving parts, and this date's a little bit bigger because we've added a Friday, and it's also challenging that we're doing a con on Friday while we're setting up for the ball. But again, all these pieces are starting to come together now, and so I'm really happy with where we are.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear also about your general gothic paranormal secondary because I mean like there are so many
Yes,
great book series and TV shows that are really
yes.
like hit on that kind of atmosphere that I think it's gonna be really cool.
It's hard to narrow it down because I always ask the fans too, like, what do you want? And of course, the fans want everything. They want every cast member from every show.
Yeah, for $5, please.
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
um
And I'm like, okay, I'll see what I can do. So yeah, and it's funny because we can't really call it supernatural because we don't want people to think it's a supernatural show. So we're kind of, we're calling it Bloodlines is the name of it
Mm.
for this one. So yeah, I think that encompasses, most of these shows have this family element of, it's all centered in family in a lot of them. And that certainly with the Michelsons is what we achieved for New Orleans.
I was also curious, do you feel like so you mentioned you're gonna have a lot of returners from the previous event to the next one. Do you feel like the kinds of attendees that you get are similar to the people that you would see at like the big conventions and other small fan conventions? Like, because I'm interested in how attendee population dynamics shift, I guess. Because like I just went to Fan Expo and I was like, wow, there are a lot of like teens and 20-year-olds who are super into anime at this like general fan convention versus I go to a supernatural convention. I'm like, okay, there's a bimodal distribution of like young people and people that were there for when the show first started and like nothing in between. It's very different. I find it interesting.
Yeah, I do too. And there's a lot of our fandoms of these kind of shows where they're fans of a lot of different things. So I think we get a mix. It was interesting to me that we got a mix of the ones that are on the convention. That's kind of what they do for entertainment, right? They go to all these. So there's a certain percentage of those. But I found with us doing the Michelson Ball, definitely appealed to people that, yeah, they're fan of the show and the idea of getting to go to a ball with the Michelsons, they only went to the ball and that was their experience. And they don't really have a sense of that, people that travel and do all these conventions. So I think we were able to get, a lot of these people that were like, oh, and some of them ended up coming to Sunday and they're like, oh, this is amazing. We didn't know that this world was out there. So I think it's a combination of different people, and it does seem to be that the age group of these is your younger teenagers, but also up to, I'm a bit of an old woman, even my, late, I say middle age, but I'm really like late, I don't know, senior. That age, it encompasses all ages, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, I think it is really cool the broad swaths of people that you see at these kinds of conventions where you're just like, oh, it's a good reminder because especially if you, I don't know, you live in a certain neighborhood of a city that is like very, oh, it's all college kids because I live in the cheap college neighborhood or whatever.
Right.
Like you get
Right.
used to that and then you go and you're like, oh my God, this is definitely like representative of how broad this fandom is, which is very
Yes.
cool.
And it's amazing. People bring their families and, husbands and, it's a woman dominated attendee for the most part. But I've been, and especially I could think of my own company here in terms of there's quite a few men that are really big fans. And it's actually really cool to see. And there's this one in particular that has these amazing tattoos of characters. And it's like, I love that. It's very rewarding in a sense of a business owner that they're just so passionate about it and want to come and show off their art.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love when people are like, oh, I love the show, but I don't know that I do a convention. Then they go and they're like, this is incredible. And you're like, yeah, it is.
Well,
Welcome.
me too. Like I at first when I do have to admit that I was sort of embarrassed a little bit to tell my family and friends because it just seemed I was like, what is this? But there's an amazing community as well. I'm a little bit of I'm well, not a little bit, I'm a lot introverted. And one of the things that surprised me is you're always welcome, no matter if it's your first convention or people recognize you, everybody's there for the same reason. So everybody is so welcoming, and you get this community, and with the staff that are at these things, because it tends to be the same staff. By the way, we have one of the most experienced, amazing staff, in the convention space, and that's because of Heather, which I'm so very proud of. And but you get to know them as well, and you almost look forward to seeing them just as much as the cast members and having that community. That actually, I have to say, in I was trying to figure out why do people do these things so often,
Yeah.
but that's why there's such a community aside from the cast members. And again, everybody comes for the cast members; they're wonderful people. But again, it's the whole package of what this is for people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's the like, oh, I get to see my friend who works the conventions, and this is the one time I get to see him. Or I have friends who are also in this fandom, and this is how we get together once a year as we
Right,
travel and get to
right.
have this experience. Like,
Yes. And have
I
been,
love
yeah,
that.
and they become really friends in real life. And I think that is really cool. And I've made some incredible friends through this, that I'm very proud of.
Well, I also want to know, not just talking about the originals experience, but when you're thinking about the kind of convention space in general, where do you think the future of fan conventions is moving towards or away from? Like, how do you think this space is changing these days?
That's another great question. I think it's moving away because there's companies that have been around for a long time and they do it really well. But what they do, kind of becomes redundant. You come in, you do the photos, you do the autos, and you do some group meet and greets. So I think where it's going is, especially in our kind of business and how successful we were with our first show, is people want something a little bit different. They want all the names, 100%. I mean, that's the biggest, just like any other convention, but they want those personal experiences. They want like a brunch with, this cast member or a dinner or like our immersive stuff. I feel like that's where it's going. And I've seen in some new companies that have come out, as well as even some that have been around a long time, seem to be moving in that direction of not just doing the floor services.
Yeah, yeah, it's like the baseline everyone expects is like, yes, I might want a photo or an auto or a selfie
Yes.
or whatever. But it's like, okay, but like, what would make me super excited and want to go and spend even more? It's like, oh, well, it's a small group meet and greet, afternoon tea or whatever that also fits within the theme of the show that you love so much, where you really get those kind of more intimate moments to some degree. Like feels personal. Yeah.
Exactly. And I also think there's some companies I've seen coming out with just different fandoms that aren't necessarily mainstream, which I kind of like and are based on, a book adaptation and smaller. And I think that's amazing for us in general is getting anybody into this world, whatever you're a fan of, and having those experiences, whether it's small in a book that you grew up with and you get to meet the author, or a cast member that's incredibly popular and the headliner of a show, right? I love I love that direction and where the business is going.
And I do think, I mean, this is just me personally. We've already talked about how much social media is a necessary evil in our lives, it seems.
Yes.
But I do wonder if also a lot of fans like these kinds of events because, and at least this is how I feel about it, that you get to actually have the in-person fandom experience that maybe social media doesn't provide. Like there might be great memes and like lovely fanfic and fan art,
Right.
but you're also like, yeah, but people in the comment section on Instagram can be wild, and I don't
Oh
need
my
that.
goodness.
But when you see people in person, you can have these wonderful conversations and be like, oh my God, there are other fans like me that are not like picking a favorite actor and being mean to the other actors or whatever. Like just, bad social behavior happens in all groups, but I really hate that I see it on social media.
I do too, and I don't get it because I don't think that the people that make those kind of comments, what actually one of the biggest pet peeves of mine in the social media is when they sort of attack an actor based on the character they played, that they didn't like the character, or that they take, there's romances, right? I guess they're called ships.
Yes.
um that where because they have the ship of these two characters, then they want to give hate to that person's wife or girlfriend, and that I don't understand. In like you're a fan of a person, and I don't want to get into too much of a negative social media. Everybody knows there's negativity out there.
Yeah.
um, but those are the where I'm like, really, this is a TV show. Like that's, if you're a fan of an actor, you want them to be happy. You want them to have a happy life with who they want to be with.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, and I do think, I mean, there's did a whole season on parasociality and parasocial relationships because there is this like blurring of lines of how close do you feel to people that you do or don't know, and whether that's
Right.
like as an actor or as a character, and it's a weird space, man. Like the phrase was coined in like the 1950s in Chicago, and it's just fascinating to me. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Well, we've asked all the questions that I really was dying to know. Is there anything I didn't ask you about that you feel like is really important to highlight about the original experience and the kind of work that your team is doing?
I think really just the uniqueness of some of our experiences that we're doing. The Michelson Ball certainly, but also these other immersive things where you can go, and we have one experience where you're going to make cocktails with two of the actors. So I want to highlight that we just have something for everybody in those type of experiences.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Tammie, co-founder and director of finance and operations for the original experience in New Orleans. As someone who has never seen the Vampire Diaries or the originals, and yes, I still know that sounds crazy for being such an obsessive fangirl like me, I really appreciated hearing about what this event means for fans and how it brings them into a completely immersive experience. I'll link the site in the web description if you're tempted to snag a few tickets for the next ball in March 2027, or this fall's Bloodlines Con in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you're a general spooky show fan, keep an eye on the Geekscape network for a new recap live stream coming this October. I think you guys are going to really like it. Now for the show's credits. Music was composed and performed by Chris Scott. Cover art was designed by Liz Hand. In Defense of Fandom is part of the Geekscape podcast network. If you like the show, giving us a review on Apple Podcasts is a great way to help support this work and help even more listeners discover us. Your support is deeply appreciated. Also, sorry if my voice sounds a little rough. Turns out back-to-back cons is hard on you.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.